You are live
Hello.
on the Facebooky intranetsies.
Hello, intranets. Look at that, only 2 minutes late.
Well, technically, I started the stream at 7
Right at 7?
in like 40 seconds.
That's fine.
So it's 7:01, but hey.
Okay. Well, it's...
And you guys already banged out 2 shows.
Right. Well, so for those of you who are here that are joining us currently, we recorded DU Does EFL show before doing this. So we want to try to get this done tonight kind of quickly. I need to be on a plane at 6:15 in the morning, and I'm also doing a whole lot of Wolves tonight too, to peer view the massive 6-pointer between Everton and Wolves, already third game into the season. Right. Separated by one goal for goal difference. 4 goal difference to a 5 goal difference.
Right.
Sorry, Villa could have done worse. Or better.
You should have done worse. You should have fucking annihilated
us. They took pity on you.
We were not good.
We used it as scrimmage. At one point, I looked at Houston, and I'll say this now instead of the show because it's too real. It's like, we are literally dribbling circles around you.
Yeah. That's I did have to say to her on multiple occasions, Sam, I was like, it's okay to celebrate goals.
I did. The first goal, I went, yeah. And then the next one, I'm like, sorry.
Like, it's okay. Like, it's... If my team scores, I'm going to jump up and fucking scream. You should jump up and fucking scream too.
And
like,
we'll never know.
We absolutely have
to. No, you're right. We may never know because there's a good chance we may never score a fucking goal.
Entirely true.
That moment when both Calvert-Lewin and Emmy were both down and we're both going, fuck.
Yeah,
it sucks.
All right, so
a pen real quick.
Absolutely. Mel, you got a pen for Mr. Graham?
I just need to write one little thing down.
You can have that one. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we got quite a few people here checking us out.
Well, just to let everybody know, Taylor, Monday night is now his Friday night with his new gig. And he sent me a picture
good Lord.
Of a can of Smirnoff Berry Smash ice.
Nice.
And a bottle of Evan Williams.
I was going to say.
Somebody is pouring themselves a quality cocktail, a Smash Williams tonight, to go along with.
I still can't believe we drank that fucking shit.
How should he? Oh, we'll be drinking one again too. That's gonna happen again. He went ahead and made himself a little Smash Williams and is going to be joining us tonight on
Are we
the old
going to get a
interwebs.
drunk Taylor call later?
No calling, Taylor. You're not calling in tonight. We need this show to be a certain time limit tonight.
Well, there's always injury time.
Yeah. Again, I need these shows to be a certain time limit tonight. I got fucking another show to do, and I'm going to be up at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. Because I'm an idiot that's going to fly to fucking Portland to go to a party to then turn around and fly back in
that's
28
baller.
hours.
It'd be even more baller if it was a private jet or something, but Southwest.
No, what do you think? Who do you think you are, John Benson?
I just clearly. And by the way, the International Man of Mystery, he's become much more in the communications and the threads with the DU group.
He has.
I'm fucking living for it. I love it.
He's not on a boat anymore.
Yeah, very true. So are we ready to do a show, kids? Sam, do you need a minute or are you good to go?
I'm good.
All right, he's going to be writing, looking at his phone, doing what he always does. But Mel, you ready to rock and roll?
I mean, I've been ready.
Okay, well then let's do it.
I was just kidding about being ready.
It's not the preseason anymore. Preseason's over.
No, I just got to pull the big screen up because I'd already saved the other 2 shows. Remember, got a lot going on over here, y'all.
Hold on. We got to turn off the fan.
I'm just kidding. I'm fucking you. Like to keep you on your toes. And there goes. I put the AC on fan.
Very good.
So we should at least get air in here and it won't be as stagnant. Mm-hmm. No one is allowed to, for the next 65 minutes.
Tell you what, producer Mel has been, let's just say a lot lately, everybody.
You're welcome.
Not a compliment.
No wonder you're going to Portland for 36 hours.
If it could only be longer.
I'm fine with that.
Oh, don't tempt me to stay, I will. It's a city full of drugs, alcohol, and sex. I could just stay there.
And French fries.
Also, if it all becomes too much, euthanasia.
Yeah, true. Very true. All right. Are we ready now, Producer Mel? You got all your screens in order and everything?
I'm just waiting on you, babe.
Ken Macco.
Sorry. Forgot to press record. I'm good now.
I'm Ken Macco from Forest Hill, Maryland, supporter of the Manchester United. Prettier than Jack Grealish and the official daddy of all Arsenal and Everton fans. And you're listening to the DU Football Show.
Except for no going so well for you right now, Manchester United.
They, very charitable of them, gave an Australian manager their first one in the Premier League.
I was going to say, they're the official, you know who their daddy is fucking Tottenham.
That's right.
Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston. Sam Houston? Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey. Sam Graham. Drunkard United! Drunkard United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and over there doing his best fucking flock of seagulls, my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. Sammy, how we doing, buddy?
2-2, baby.
Yeah, you doing all right, huh?
2 for 2. Loving it. Absolutely loving it.
It took a little liberty with the referee today. Help you out there. Push you over the finish line.
Was not help. It was a clear penalty, and the other one was not.
Okay, very good.
Which we'll come on to.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then that penalty for Liverpool, then that was definitely not a penalty. Then, if we go by that rationale,
I said it was soft. I said that was soft last week.
We're recording at the DU Public House, just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and share with a footballing friend. And of course, we're going live every single Monday night. And should you want to chat with us, Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It's at DU Football Show on all the social media and dufootballshow at gmail.com to get in touch via email.
Which reminds me, we had a really good email from Keith that I never talked about before. I was going to do it on the big 20 for 20 show and totally fucking forgot to. So we're going to pull that up real quick. Go ahead and fill for me for a moment there, Mr. Graham, while I pull it up.
I like how all the Tottenham fans were saying Postaclug who? To make fun of Manchester United. Mm-hmm. Like, who are you?
Who are you? All right.
It's pretty funny.
Are you ready?
Yep.
From Keith Kern. I won't be driving my happy ass down to the studio, but I thought I'd send you an email ahead of the new season. I'm looking forward to more unbelievably bad parlays. Producer Mel misreading Kitty's adventures and picks. Graham begins annoyingly Graham being annoyingly Arsenal-centric. Houston telling us how good DCL is when he's healthy as he's recovering from yet another injury. There's some foreshadowing.
This time to his cheekbones.
Listening to Pat's email be read while he's sleeping. I'd watch the live stream, but then I wouldn't be able to enjoy the show on my long commute. Houston and Graham, I can let you know how it feels to watch you play Champions League football this season. So, very good. Yeah. Well, Houston, Graham, and I'm misreading the hell out of this. I'm going to have a little time.
As good a cold reader as Mel is.
You want me to read it? I'm the best cold reader in the business.
No, I didn't. Sure you are. And I'll keep my calendar open for the DU Live event. Your favorite listener in Frederick, Keith. Keith, very well done. That was a good email. It took a while to get there, but
can't read.
I just can't read. Well, it would also be good if I didn't do it off my phone, which is what you do all the time, and that doesn't particularly go well ever.
What are you talking about?
Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. We had this a few years ago, but I think it's worth talking about again. What are we drinking tonight, Mr. Graham?
This is the Rye 3 Whiskey 14-year-old light whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
It is bottled exclusively for the syndicate. No, this is actually just All View. Mm-hmm. It's not the Syndicate. This is just All View, which is awesome. One of my favorite stores, obviously, and I love, me and Justin have very similar palates of whiskey, so anything I buy from there is typically pretty spot on.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a cash strength, as I said, 63.7% by volume. It is not around anymore. They've sold it all, so that is a unicorn now.
Yep.
It is fucking delicious.
Yeah. So light whiskey, to explain what that is versus regular whiskey. In order to be a rye, wheat, bourbon, single malt, what have you, you cannot be distilled over 160 proof.
Correct.
Right? Because if you distill over that, you are losing characteristics that make it a full-fledged whiskey. Now, if you're making a vodka or a gin, you're producing a grain-neutral spirit, right? Which is produced at 190 proof because you want it to have no characteristics.
Exactly.
Right? And what is in between is a light whiskey because it's not a full whiskey. It's not a grain neutral spirit, right? So there's a little bit of softness and sweetness to it. There's no rules on the type of wood you have to age a light whiskey in. And typically light whiskeys are done for two things. The most common, Seagram 7.
Yep.
It is a simple mixing whiskey, just something you make a 7 and 7 with. It does the trick. It's inexpensive and it checks all the spots, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing that it's used for is to give blended bourbons backbone.
Right.
Like, so what we honestly have here, this is from MGP, this it's a fucking 14-year-old Seagrams.
Right.
Is essentially what it is, because it was distilled and made for the Seagrams company. But then, of course, Seagrams didn't need all the whiskey, hence those barrels got sold.
Yep.
It's a lot of where MGP made their business because they used to be exclusively a Seagrams producer. That's what they did. And Seagrams, frankly, just doesn't sell the way it used to back in the day.
Right. Pretty much. But it's freaking delicious, this bottle. There's a lot of honeysuckle, kind of butterscotch to it.
Ton of honey.
I really enjoy this bottle of whiskey.
It's a little hot, but that's to be expected because it's a light whiskey. The ice really kind of mellows it down.
Mellows it out a little bit, yeah, for sure.
But great hot day whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
A light whiskey is a great hot day whiskey.
Especially because now I wouldn't do it with this because it is so good on its own. But light whiskey's great with 7-Up, great with Sprite, great with ginger ale. It's a perfect thing for that. And it wasn't terribly expensive because light whiskeys are less money to make.
Right. It's not new oak. Right off the jump, it's not new oak. You're using
which is one of the
barrel.
biggest expenditures of a bottle of whiskey is having to use a brand new barrel.
Yep.
But next week, I'll have the bottle with me that I forgot to bring this week.
Yeah, very good.
Which is why we got stuck doing this.
Well, isn't it nice that you could just turn around in my closet and go, well, what do we feel like drinking tonight?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's nice to turn around and go, shit, I forgot the bottle I wanted to do. Let's just pull out another amazing single barrel that we just happen to have between us.
Because Houston just has a fuck ton in his closet. If you look over Mr. Graham's shoulder on the live stream where, that is where all the magic is. Lots and lots of magic in there.
There you go.
All right. What else should we always do, Mr.
Always
Graham?
remember to drink responsibly.
I will not be doing that tomorrow night while I'm in Portland. I can assure you of that.
Good. You'll be on like 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of travel.
Yeah.
All you need to do is add alcohol to the mix.
I'll be a mess on Thursday when I'm home. Have fun dealing with me, Producer Mel. That is for damn sure. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it, Mr. Graham.
Let's do it.
All right. We open at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as we see brilliance from one side that we aren't necessarily sold on yet, and left scratching our heads about the other side that we thought should be much better than they've actually started. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 0. Was this Spurs looked really good, or was this United looked really bad?
Both. And the reason I say Spurs did look very good is that they actually played with a balanced, cohesive plan. Postecoglou is known for his attacking style of football, his, kind of quick counterattacks, his, relatively decent possession based, I guess you'd say. But it's a lot more exciting than what I saw referred to Antonio Conte as, which is absolutely hysterical. The Parmesan Poulis. If you remember the old Stoke manager, Tony Pulis, and former Crystal Palace as well, how defensive-minded he was and everything.
Tony Pulis is why there is but can you do it on a cold rainy night in Stoke?
No, 100%.
It's
yeah.
very much because of him. And also, noted thorn in the side of Arsene Wenger and
100%.
Arsenal.
But they, so somebody referred to him online as the Parmesan Pulis, which is very funny in terms of Conte. But Postecoglou's, Big Ange is known for being the opposite of that, playing a bit more expansive and a bit more exciting. Now, Tottenham, obviously, there's a giant Harry Kane-shaped hole in that side. Yeah. And Son I don't know, nobody knows if he can do it as the main man. He's looked a little frustrated at first in these first two games. Just things aren't quite clicking for him. Richarlison doesn't look like he's ever going to score a goal again at club level. And
he's getting in and around the goal, but he's just not.
It's just not finishing. I don't know what it's about.
The two of them and why am I forgetting his name? Starts with a K. The other Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Kulusevski. It looks like the three of them are trying too hard to score.
Yes. They're not just letting the game come to them. They're doing way too much.
The three of them are really kind of forcing the issue. And what they got to realize is they got a great string puller behind him in Madison.
Oh, yeah.
Find the spots. He's going to get you the ball. Just find spots.
Well, the other thing that where I say Manchester United look very poor is Mason Mount's being played out of position. They spent a shit ton of money on it. He looks lost, doesn't know what he's doing, which leaves Casemiro to do all the work on his own, and he just can't do it all on his own anymore. So once Tottenham kind of realized that, because the first 5-10 minutes was pretty back and forth, to be honest. Manchester United had some chances. There was, they can't seem to take a chance either, though. But once they realized that Madison just kind of had Casemiro's number, and once he found those little pockets of space and recognized that Mount really wasn't tracking him either, that he was able to just turn and drive into space, and Casemiro can't keep up with him. And he started pulling the strings and had some very, very defense unlocking balls, over the top to either wing, and a couple of through balls that were excellent. And I think he had the hockey assist for the opening goal.
Wow. I would say the stars of this show of the game for me was Yves Bissouma and Pepe Sarr.
He was excellent.
And Sarr as the two holding midfielders.
This is again what I'm saying.
Incredible.
And we saw this against Wolves. Mm-hmm. I thought to myself, a better team would pick Manchester United off here.
And they did.
And that's exactly what happened here. But it was, Yves Bissouma was excellent. He seemed to be all over the place. He looked like Casemiro 10 years ago.
Well, you know what? Yves Bissouma looked like Yves Bissouma of Brighton.
But we
never saw that with him last season.
Correct. What we had, because we didn't see him last season, Conte refused to play him for most of the year. It was all Højbjerg.
Yeah.
But what they did, and we saw the flashes of this against Wolves in the first week of the season, Tottenham were allowed to just march right down the middle of the field, essentially. Because Casemiro just became overrun, and it happened again.
Yeah.
And
Mount
and this is where you look at Papi Sarr, who scored the first goal. Again, late run into the box, just right down the center of the field, just cut like a hot butter through knife.
Yep.
It was very. He still had a lot to do. The ball came at him at pace, the cutback, but a relatively easy finish for what you would expect Manchester United to give away as opportunities. It was a bit ridiculous.
I tend to wonder. I think you have to play Bruno or Mount, not both, because Mount will try and put forth the effort to get back to try to defend. Bruno's not.
I can't wait until we're 5 or 6 games in, maybe 6 games in, and he has his 5th yellow card already for dissent and gets suspended for a game. You know what? Manchester United, he was like this back at Sporting. He was like this at every club he's ever been at. He was just petulant. And I think it's time, my opinion, Manchester United got rid of the toxicity of Cristiano Ronaldo. Their results improved. They've had a full preseason with actually no summer international stuff to do. And this is how they start the season. It seems a little pitiful. I don't know if Ten Hag's just a bald fraud or if there's more toxicity in that dressing room than we realize. And that's partially, to him. And all I'm saying is they need a miracle, Manchester United. They should go get one of those candles and then break out into a number of "We don't talk about Bruno." That's all I'm saying. Just fucking Encanto it up and get rid of him.
It has been completely unimpressive right now.
It's terrible.
They have not looked good.
It's a terrible start
at all. I mean, and for United supporters, you're justified in saying, you know what? We should have an outside shot at the title this year. We should be comfortably third place. We should get out of the group of Champions League. Like, this should be a team that should just be right in the fucking discussion, right?
What they should have done was just sell the fucking club to the Saudi. Is what they should have done.
And
because the Glazers aren't going to do what they're supposed to do in this situation, and the facilities are falling apart by all accounts. They should have. I'm not a fan of the sports washing thing. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And I don't want Manchester United to be back because that hurts my boys.
Right.
But for the fan base, you saw what's happened at Newcastle, and they haven't spent ridiculously. I mean, they've spent, don't get me wrong, beyond anything Mike Ashley would have done.
Right.
But they haven't done, what City did when they first got bought up.
it has been a blend of old and new with Newcastle.
But
they've used a lot of what they've had before.
I've heard them refer to the PIF Posse, Public Investment Fund. The PIF Posse.
That's pretty
That's
fucking
pretty
great.
good.
I do like that.
But for the fans, that probably would have been the best thing that happened this summer. And I think you would have seen a massive clear out, some of the dead weight getting done, and then some actual investment in players that make sense for Ten Hag, because it looks, again, like they're more worried about the commercialability of these players than they are making a football team work.
I hate to say, but you're right with the toxicity. It's Bruno Fernandes is now the toxic guy.
Uh-huh.
And there's always been a toxic guy, it seems, since Alex has left. Go sell him to Saudi for fucking $100 million, because I guarantee you there's a Saudi club that'll give you that kind of money for Bruno Fernandes. Absolutely would. And let Mason Mount be the guy and go with Eriksen and Casemiro behind him, because what gave them the most success last year was Casemiro and Eriksen in the middle with Bruno in an advanced role. That's what suited them the best. And I also don't know that Rashford necessarily wants to be an out-and-out front man. I think Rashford probably benefits best in a 2. Not in a 3, and he's the focal point. I think he benefits best being able to play off the wing and play through the in spaces.
Or in a 3, but on the left.
Yeah. Yeah, and if that's the case, there's no one else that can play the middle.
Well, there's one. But there shouldn't be one.
Now, let's go ahead. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of off the field stuff already.
So real quick, one last thing on the field. I thought it very funny. Lisandro Martinez's wee legs couldn't wrap around that ball, and he deflected it into his own net. Maybe if he was about 2 inches taller,
he might have
got there.
All right, now on to the off the field stuff. Just a big old D-back.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is
big time.
So we can say the following: there were no charges. The charges were dropped. There is no criminal investigation on Mason Greenwood or anything like that. But we do have the court of public opinion, and we have the pictures of his
victim.
Yeah, with a bloody fucking nose and bruises on her head. And I understand there's a lot of investment that goes into a player. I understand that he's a young player. I get all of that. But they slip and they let it be released that they're just going to bring him back to the club without consoling anybody, let alone the female players who are currently playing for England in a World Cup fucking final.
Well, no,
they didn't even go or ask anybody's opinion. They just went, yeah, we think we're going to go ahead and bring back Greenwood.
They said they were gonna consult the women's team and stuff, but
they didn't.
I don't know that they need that responsibility.
Right.
I don't know that should be on their shoulders. The answer should be, hey, I don't care that we're a men's team. We're going to stand up for women and just say, fuck you, Mason, because the level of evidentiary responsibility at Manchester United in an internal investigation is a lower threshold than it is for a prosecution. And basically, it's a key witness with knowledge of the case that didn't want to testify anymore, and they couldn't compulsory make her testify.
Behavior unbecoming
Correct.
of the club.
And
that is a blanket statement.
And go look, and every footballer's got that in their locker. But they're just proving again that it is a big boys club, that we will just protect you. Look at how many footballers are attempted rape right now. Thomas Partey being one of them. He's being played every day. And as far as now, I haven't seen as much evidence as we did in this particular case, but by all accounts, there was evidence, and there was some sort of loophole where it happened in Spain, not in England, and they couldn't try him in England because a law didn't go into effect until 14 days later. So it happened before that law was allowed for the UK to try him. So just because you aren't able to be tried doesn't mean you're not guilty. And look at what City did to Benjamin Mendy.
Right.
And Benjamin Mendy was found not guilty and sued the club for wrongful termination. And the club won.
Right. Again, blanket statement. Behavior unbecoming. Like, that is, as a private business, that's your get out of jail. Now, finish your thought, and then I've got a long comparison, but I think a very good comparison to get to this situation.
There's another situation as well where, like, Robin Van Persie was accused of rape. He had video evidence and a receipt from a nightclub when the woman was claiming she was attacked. That he was across Eindhoven in a different town. Right? Or in a different bar, rather, across the city. So you didn't do it. That's fine. And there was 100% evidence that he didn't do it.
Right.
That's okay, great. That accusation should not ruin your life either. But as long as it's provable that it's a false accusation. But at the beginning of it, you do have to take the women for their word and look into it. And it just doesn't seem like they're doing that here. And it's a bit ridiculous to me. And then the women's team has nothing to fucking do with it.
Right.
You don't need to just be a man about it, because men don't do that shit. Then stand up for the women. You don't need to ask, hey, should we can him? Why? What's the point of that?
It's not their job.
It's not their job to police us. It's our job to police us.
Right. Well, and it's your job to police your own players.
Right.
Now, what I would like to do is a comparison. There's going to be people who will say the following. Doesn't the man deserve an opportunity to earn a livelihood? Here is the comparison I'm going to make. It is apples to a T. In the NFL, Ray Rice there was video evidence of him beating the ever-loving shit out of his wife, and it was not pretty. That man did everything right, has continued to do everything right. Him and his wife are still together. He works diligently with anti-female women, wife, spousal abuse. He works very, very close hand in hand. He wears that mistake on his sleeve, and he does not hide from it. He did everything right. How many games of football did Ray Rice play after that video came out? Not a fucking one. He was out of the league. They never let him back. Nobody gave him a second chance. Sometimes shit happens in your life that, it's gonna fucking stay with you. It's going to be it's going to be what you are remembered as. And all you can do, and you've made mistakes in your life. I've made mistakes in my life. Mel's made mistakes in her life. People make fucking mistakes, right? You know? But when I was 20 years old, I was convicted fucking felon for embezzlement. Like you can move on and do better things for yourself, but some shit is gonna stay with you. Beating the crap out of your spouse is gonna fucking stay with you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Mason Greenwood, if we want to take an apples to apples approach and look at this, Ray Rice never played a fucking game again. He had just won a Super Bowl. He was an MVP of the league. He was the best fucking running back in that sport. He never played another game again. Why? Because one night he made a really fucking bad mistake, and that bad mistake has stayed with him. Now, what you hope that Mason will do is acknowledge that shit and become a good fucking man and a good fucking human being like Ray Rice did. You would hope that would be the case.
Speaking of your embezzlement, I'm starting to wonder where all the fucking Patreon money's going. I think Mel and I are going to have to do some forensic accounting.
Maybe look into the financial advisor of our current setup. That would be one Miss Producer Mel.
You can take it up with HR.
All right, Russ, we'll be calling you to find out where the money is.
Where the money is.
We had a bunch of high-scoring matches this weekend, including some straight-up ass whoopings, man.
Yes.
Brighton 4, Wolverhampton 1, Aston Villa 4. I wrote Everton 1, but we didn't score any fucking goals. We haven't scored a goal yet this season.
Wishful thinking. Talk about a pro-Everton agenda.
Wishful thinking. We're not going to score a goal this year. West Ham 3 and this little old fraudulent mid-table club Chelsea 1. What a great goal from Matoma to start
brilliant.
off.
Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it was only half of the field, unlike Maradona, who went like 3/4 of the field through the entire England squad. But he had guys hanging on his back. He's like, I'm fucking doing this shit.
Yeah. It was excellent. It was brilliant. And the way he opened up his body at the end, found the far side. Oh, it was gorgeous. A goal of the weekend for me. Maybe Gustavo Hammer. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll think on that for a second.
And if you had Erling Haaland leading the league in scoring after week 2, you'd be wrong because that would be one Mr. Solly Marsh.
That's goddamn right. Solly Marsh. So it was really a tale of two duos this game, because at first it was Matoma who was assisted by Estupiñán, and then Matoma assisting Estupiñán for the second. And then in the second half, it was the Enciso and Solly March show. And Solly March scored 2 of Enciso's brilliantly weighted passes. If Matoma's was the finish of the weekend, and all that Solly March's second goal was fucking as good feet. And because it didn't fly into the back of the net, nobody's going to remember it. That was good fucking feet and super football IQ. Absolutely fantastic. But those 2 passes from Enciso were absolutely brilliant. They were De Bruyne-esque with the weight and just the perfect precision for him to not even break stride. It was awesome to see.
I'm going to debate, and we'll get to it in Oso, that there was someone else who had a brace of assists that were more impressive.
Okay.
So we'll get
see
to
what
that
happens.
one.
Yeah.
Last week, good Wolves. This week, bad Wolves. Like, I think this is what we're going to start kind of seeing with this team. It's very funny that they're both facing each other in the next week, because both Everton and Wolves played really well the first week and lost games they probably should have won, and then both promptly look like dog shit this week.
Wolves, I mean, Brighton are just so good, though. That's where I don't know that. I mean, Wolves tried hard, but
Wolves looked good against United.
Yeah, but United looked like shit.
Yeah, they still.
That's the thing. But they
Wolves took it to United though. Like,
I know, but Brighton are better than United, is what I'm saying. Brighton are a better team at the moment, currently top of the fucking table because they've put up an 8 spot.
In
the first 2 games.
Fucking amazing.
They're setting the pace right now.
Oh, absolutely.
They're just excellent, and De Zerbi it deserves all the credit in the world. It's just, how many players has he lost, and just next man up. And in his post match, even said he thinks that they have the best blend and perfect blend of youth and experience, and you can't really fault him. And everybody's scoring, everybody's assisting, everybody is contributing to this, and it's fucking brilliant to see.
And you got to wonder, it's like, who are they going to lose next summer, and who's going to be the next guy that comes up out of nowhere? Because that guy will exist before the end of this season.
Oh, yeah.
We'll know who is the guy who took over for McAllister. We will know who the guy is that took over for Concedo. Like, we'll know that before this, because we saw Mope left and was like, oh, Matoma, that's the guy.
Yep.
He's gonna fucking
and then
do it.
Evan Ferguson came onto the scenes, already scored a few goals for the Republic of Ireland.
Yep.
For the senior side. So it's like they unearth these just excellent players.
Oh, Trossard's gone in CISO. Like, or better yet, Solly Marsh. Like, just a system guy. Because he been with this team when they were struggling too. And we were never really, I mean, yeah, he had a motor, but it was never really impressive. And these past 2 seasons, it's a guy who works perfectly within a system, and they nail it. The first of many people who saw double yellows and for silly things like arguing with the ref or time wasting, Mateus Nunes got
over
one.
Adam Webster, whoever it was, wasn't it?
And then caught the second yellow for running his mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like there's been a lot of that already, and I know that will eventually kind of settle down because they're doing that. But I wonder, and this is a greater conversation of reffing as a whole, because I think reffing this weekend
was especially poor.
To be nice, we'll say it was inconsistent, right? That's what we'll say. We'll say it was inconsistent.
Okay.
Because there's things that are penalties that aren't penalties, we'll get into it with the Everton match, like where it's not a penalty on a goalkeeper the week prior, but it is a penalty the next week. Like it seems so like they're just making up calls to make up for mistakes, and it seems to not be affecting the teams that were hurt or helped by it the first time. And I think we're going to see a lot of silly send-offs for a lot of silly things.
We saw one today.
Yeah, we saw one today.
Absolutely fucking absurd. Tim Reams as well, which we'll talk about.
Exactly.
Fucking absurd.
So it just inconsistent at best, but also as players, if you know they're going to be pulling out the cards, watch your fucking mouth. Watch your fucking mouth. Like, don't get a second yellow for running your fucking mouth, man. Don't. Well, he's now not going to be playing against Everton when they desperately fucking need him to be playing against Everton.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big fucking miss for them. That's going to hurt them quite a bit. Moving on to Villa and Everton. Exactly the game Villa needed. Exactly the game Everton didn't. It was bad for Everton.
Yes, it was very bad for Everton, and 3 of the 4 goals were y'all's fault.
Yeah, namely Michael fucking Keane's fault. Mickey Keggers is he's slow. He steps off the ball. He turns slowly. His reactions are slow.
Ashley Young is a vastly experienced player that should be knowing to not throw the ball in at that angle to that player.
Well, you see, what happened is that he was thinking he was still wearing a Villa kit. And he decided to throw it into Duran for, it was a hell of an assist on that throw from Ashley Young too.
It was a very long game
on that last goal
to get those extra points over Everton.
But what I'm getting at, the penalty for Pickford, I'm fine with it being called a penalty, and I said it was a penalty because Pickford didn't touch any of the ball. Now, if Pickford had touched the most minute amount of that ball, it would have been okay. But what's funny, everybody's talking about him swinging at the ball. He didn't make contact with with Watkins with the swipe.
Right.
It was their legs colliding is what ultimately ended up being the penalty. But it was funny. I listened to Tim Howard at halftime talk about it and go, this is an instance where the referees, they made a mistake the week before. They got together, they had discussions, and they got it right this week. Well, then, aren't we doing what you constantly talk about and playing with a different set of rules for?
Well, no, it's just but it's the people that are. You're dealing with humans first and foremost.
Of course.
So there's going to be fuck ups, obviously. The rules were not applied appropriately in week 1. The Pigmole decided to suspend those 2 referees for this weekend, the VAR and the head official, for this weekend's fixtures that were in that Manchester United Wolves game, and failed to award a penalty to Wolves for Onana's challenge on whoever it was. So, yeah,
I think it was Semedo.
It's the unfortunate shit that you run into, but this week the rules were applied appropriately in most instances, because at the end of the Arsenal game, Thomas Partey was doing the imaginary card sign. I saw 4 of those yellow cards issued.
He didn't get one.
He didn't get one.
Right.
But he was doing the imaginary card sign for Eze's dive, which was a dive. Mm-hmm. We'll come on to that again, because you said you were going to fight me on that point. You'll be interested to hear what I have to say, but I'm not fighting you on that point. but it's so it's a little ridiculous. It's less. It's human error is what it is. But VAR is supposed to solve that. That's
exactly what's going to be my argument to you. That's what VAR is supposed to be there for.
Right. And
it seems like VAR has a different vantage point every fucking week, leading me to believe to say what I constantly say.
But we've had this.
VAR sees what it wants to see, not what needs to be seen.
But we've had this discussion. It's been 3 years now of VAR, maybe 4. And it's just trash. It's just not good.
Yeah.
The English don't do it right.
Yeah.
It's just not been implemented correctly.
No, not at all. Not one bit.
That's just what it is.
It's been absolute garbage because we've seen it applied in other places and in other tournaments.
In the Fulham game, and now I don't know that it couldn't have been. I mean, I think it could have been because they were issued a penalty because of Tim Ream's challenge.
Yeah.
So they could have gone and looked at it, and as a result of there not being a foul, they could have rescinded the yellow card immediately.
No, they couldn't. You know why? Not allowed, because this happened with your game as well, which we'll get on to. You're not allowed to VAR review a yellow card booking, only a red.
No, but here's the difference. This is what I'm saying. Tomiyasu's correct. You're not allowed to review it. The referee called the foul, gave a yellow, but you are allowed to review a penalty decision.
Right, but just the decision, not the card.
No, you have to, because if there's no foul, then there is no card that gets issued.
Right.
They've rescinded that before.
Okay, fair enough.
But because it's a penalty, you can decide whether or not that is a penalty kick. And if you decide that it is not a penalty kick, then no foul has occurred. Just like Jordan Pickford got away with that breaking the Dutch Tulip's leg.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
hey, Graham, moment of silence. Thank you.
Because they were judged to have been offside in the build-up. So technically, that shit didn't happen. Because the play was dead.
Fair enough. Now, ultimately, for Villa, this was a phenomenal match. And Mel, feel free to talk. It's your fucking team we're talking about. You're just over there.
I was just not interrupting what you guys had going on over there. I was super happy to watch. It was like a scrimmage. Unai Emery got a chance to work out a lot of the new plays, figure out some of the positions. We were literally dribbling circles around you. Score could have been twice as high as it was.
Leon Bailey was fucking excellent as well.
Yeah.
And Musa, what's his name?
Musa Diaby.
Is it Musa Diop?
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. This was his.
God, he's lightning quick.
This was his. I mean, anybody, I could still be put up next to Michael Keane.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I could beat Michael Keane in a fucking foot race.
They were making plays. They were following through.
And as you have the heart attack in the 6-yard box, you go and beat your cut.
Exactly.
And they had said they were putting John McGinn into more scoring opportunities, and fuck yeah, he did right off the rump. I mean, it wasn't, but it'd be a much better story if it was.
How excellent was that goal? That ball came at him quite quick.
Oh,
as
just
well.
bam, right in the
And
spot.
he had to adjust his body quickly and did it to a plum, didn't he?
Yeah, as
agreed.
Cole just pointed out, McGinn literally did a pirouette.
Yeah. It was an ass whipping. I tell you right now, if you listened to Injury Time, you heard me say it. We don't win at Villa Park. I had no thoughts that we were going to have a chance.
I usually at least try.
Yeah, we were terrible. I mean, that was Dyche got it wrong. The team got it wrong. No one executed. It was terrible. And then you have even more nightmarish. Dominic Calvert-Lewin goes off with an injury.
Alex Iwobi?
Nasty too.
Not a concussion. It is basically
his cheekbone.
The cheekbone's not broken, so he'll be able to play. He'll be in a face mask, but he'll be ready to go. But more importantly, fucking Alex Iwobi goes up with a hamstring. That's a month. That kind of hamstring. When you see that one happen,
it's not good, man.
It takes a while. You have to just wait.
De Bruyne's hamstring prognosis is like mid-December.
Yeah, you are
not great.
Like those hamstrings are so unassuming. You just see the guy kind of go up limp and grab that back of that leg.
Oh yeah.
Well, was it his? Whose was it that like? It was Coutinho's. I'm sorry. That one was Coutinho's, which also sucks. When his leg kind of hyperextended and planted in that certain way. And you could see his hamstring jiggle when they did the slow-mo of like, oh, what happened? This didn't look great. And he couldn't even put fucking weight on it.
Yeah,
there's been a raft of injuries.
I could hear the Saudis dropping their offer.
Yeah, for Coutinho.
You can hear all the gold bars getting tossed back into the money pit.
Damn. Way to devalue yourself.
Hold on. That means 2 extra gold bars for Mitro.
Yeah, right.
So I hate to say it, the next 2 games against at home to Wolves and on the road to Sheffield, we're already in the fucking scrap, and we're going to need those 2. We are desperately.
And Sean Dyche's comments didn't help.
No.
The garner confidence.
No, not at all. We need to get Michael Keane off the pitch.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to start playing Jared Branthwaite. He may be young. He may be mistakes. I'll take young and mistakes as opposed to someone who it's fucking past him, man. I love you for
How
hitting that
old
fucking
is he?
streak. He's almost 30 now, I think. Yeah, he's like 29.
Yeah, you should go in for Aaron Maguire.
It's been talked about. It's actually been talked about. And
Probably
you know
don't
what?
have the money, to be honest.
And, well, as long as our problem would be is we would go in for him, but we'd have to take him as a loan, and we'd have to get United to pick up the bulk of his salary. We couldn't just afford to bring him on, you know. But anywho, the next 2, our season already on the line. Woohoo! Yay! We might score a goal this year. Might.
I'm just going to leave that there.
So, Mr. Graham, I'm not sure if you knew, there's this guy named James Ward-Prowse, and he happens to be pretty good at set pieces.
Yeah, 6 minutes it took.
And it should have only taken 4 because his first one was also a piece.
Yeah. He had all 3 assists, I think, didn't he?
2.
He
2
had
assists.
2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
They were excellent balls. That left-footed ball at the end that sent through whoever it was absolutely stunning.
This was a perfect display of how the, quote, mid-table club, right, beats a Big 6 club in their building.
26% of the ball they had.
And you just frustrate the
Was
shit out of them.
so efficient.
And Paqueta, I don't know if he had any money riding on him falling as much as he did.
God bless it. That was weird, man. That was really weird. Well, I think he's got an inquiry about his.
Yeah, he does. About getting a yellow card specifically in a match last year.
Oh, really?
That a bunch of his friends made money on.
That's trouble.
Yeah, he is being inquired.
Well, he did everything he could to dive as much as possible in this one.
It was an ugly, frustrate the shit out of a young team. And here's the thing, like, Chelsea's so young, but you could see that there's talent in that side. And you couple that with Poch is a good coach. He's a great coach.
Now, you know what I don't care for?
You could see those little things. You could see it's all clicking and working and moving. But does Chelsea, Bowley, their fans, do any of them have the patience to be okay with this team maybe being 9th place this year?
You know what I don't care for is Chelsea, especially, always have their manager, since Jose's left, always have their manager decked out in all Chelsea gear and stuff, right? And we know, big Todd Bowley, big dick swinging, dropped £1 billion in a year and all this kind of crap. I would prefer if they did not have Poch look like he just walked off of a yacht. They're custom making tracksuits now that aren't the club colors, that aren't everything else, and then any douchebag that's got a fucking darker shirt on than the outer jacket, it's just like you think you're better than everybody else. And I don't like it. I don't need you to look like a billionaire.
Heard.
You just worked for one of the UAE regimes or whoever or Qatari, whoever owns PSG for however many years, and obviously your pockets got lined, and then you come work for this idiot who just literally throws money at every problem, and then you walk out there in a white tracksuit with a black shirt underneath. Get fucked. That's not for me. That is not for me. Raheem Sterling looked good, but the rest of Chelsea didn't.
Yeah.
They ran out of ideas frequently. Conor Gallagher cut a very frustrated figure. Mudryk's not even starting.
Yeah.
So there's another $100 million down the fucking toilet. One of your £110 million signings missed a penalty, and then your £115 million signing looks a little overweight, not up to speed, and gave away the penalty that ensured the West Ham win.
Yeah.
It's not a good look at all. And I don't know, it's going to take Poch a lot of time to fix what's wrong there, but I think this is only this may be the first time in a very long time Chelsea actually put out the same starting lineup 2 weeks in a row, minus the one injured player in Reece James.
Yeah.
But everybody else on the field was the same.
Yeah.
And that's what they were missing. There was too much tinkering going on with Tuchel and Lampard, and before that, Graham Potter.
I think a lot of this team's success is going to rely really on three major players and somewhat of a fourth, but the fourth has an injury right now.
And Chukwuemeka went out with an injury in this one as well. There's a ton of fucking injuries this weekend. It's terrible.
I think Thiago Silva in the back, kind of holding down the fort for this team, is going to be very important. What Ben Chilwell does on the one side and what Reece James does on the other side will be very important.
Well, but he's out for a month with a hamstring.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I said one of the four is injured.
Yeah. But Chilwell, again, in and amongst everything. I mean, everything good that Chelsea did, Chilwell was there for.
And the fourth one, kind of the seasoned, grizzled veteran, which we would never think of, is Raheem Sterling. Because we're thinking of Raheem Sterling just recently playing for City and kind of being a stud. And those guys, those four guys are all older. I mean, you think of it, Reece James is one of the older guys on this team now.
And he's only like 26.
Yeah. And that's really where
Chukwuemeka getting off the mark was huge until the fucking injury happened.
Right.
It's like, oh shit, and we'll start again. And he was very highly rated at Villa in their academy.
But he's also responsible for the first goal, not marking on that header.
Correct.
So there's going to be, for every positive with a young team, there's going to be negatives. And what I wonder for Chelsea supporters is, can you be fucking patient? Because you need to be. Because this team could be, in a few years, really fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
Really,
they could
really fucking good.
It could be.
Yeah, but you have to kind of, you're going to have to be patient. And is Bowley and the fans patient? I don't know or think that they are.
Well, it hasn't looked that way so far.
Right.
The other thing is I also found quite funny, with, who was it? It was in the middle of the park for Chelsea. I can't remember who it was that he just Mikel Antonio just brushed off like he fucking was an infant.
Yeah.
But somebody. And I loved also how he had a bug in his ass about Thiago Silva and I'm going to just fuck with you all day. Mm-hmm. And he did, and he fucked up his world. But there's something to say. I'm sure the West Ham, the kind of battle-tested and hardened West Ham supporters like Knowlesy and those others got to have, he plays for them, so I guess a little bit of a soft spot. But even Manchester United and Bruno Fernandes, you got to hate a little bit somebody being a dick. And Lucas Paqueta was being a dick. But then to have Mikel Antonio just bully and just old school number 9 fucking go slap a ball into the corner and make everybody that he came in contact with his bitch. That just warms the soul, doesn't it?
Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. And this week, Mr. Graham, we're going to actually do this fucking quickly. We're not going to take 30 minutes to do this segment.
At least Ashley Cole wasn't on his own. Or Ashley Young wasn't on his own and fucking up big time.
Yeah, very true. Forest 2, Sheffield 1, Brentford 3, Fulham 0, Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 1, Man City 1, Newcastle 0, Arsenal 1, Palace 0. Where you were talking about the brace of assist earlier, I would argue that Serge Aurier's 2 fucking assists were perfectly floated balls. The perfect fucking headers.
Fucking amazing.
For both fucking forwards. That's what
fucking amazing.
Owoni, and then the sub Wood comes on, and both of them, these perfect little floated headers, boom, how you doing?
They were excellent. The first header was brilliant. He did well to get to it because it was one of those where the defender in front of him jumped first, missed it, so it actually came to him relatively quickly. You know what I mean? So he had to adjust himself fairly quickly, and obviously did it because he scored. And then Aurier just, what a little tee up from Brennan Johnson as well. Just a perfectly little ball wasn't, Aurier took it first time. The ball wasn't bouncing, bobbling, nothing. Just this perfect little slow roller. Just tee it up, just do what you need to do there, and then bang. Put it right in. It was absolutely brilliant.
And
what a header from Big Dumbface. Because he didn't even...
Can we please title the show Big Dumb Face?
He just, I can't believe they sent him out to do the post match. It's just like, this guy looks like a dunce.
I mean, that is up against silly send-offs
Yeah, silly
Yeah,
send-offs.
and Piff Posse.
But he didn't even jump. He just knew, just like a little glance. Mm-hmm. It was like, and who knew that this guy that looks like he has some sort of, like got dropped too many times as a child. Who knew that he knew physics like that? Because it was fucking brilliant. That
It
header.
was perfect header.
Absolutely brilliant.
So the Blades showed us a little something at the end of the first and a little something at the start of the second, and including that goal, which
Gustavo Hammer fucking hammered it, didn't he? That was absolutely brilliant.
Everybody was talking about Coventry City, the cat who went to Porto, Victor Gorquez, as kind of the person. And nobody realized this cat scored fucking 12 goals last season for Coventry. And whew, that was a nasty hit.
Yeah, but I worry because Forest were relatively comfortable for most of the game, except when two of their players decided to have a cuddle on a header and sent whatever his name was through.
Like but I said, it was 30 minutes in between the first and second half. The Blades looked like they had something to offer. What I get nervous for is because the Blades have City next, and then their game after that, their fourth game is at home to Everton. That's going to be the game they fancy to win.
Well, yeah,
As
exactly.
an Everton supporter, I'm like, oh, fuck, man. They're going to have the shit kicked out of them this next week. And then I'm going to have to try to, that's going to be tough.
Absolutely could be.
Yeah. Keeping it rolling. The Bees completely dominate a 10-man Fulham side. But my question to you is, should it have been a 10-man Fulham side? I don't think it should have been.
No, it shouldn't have been. At all, because Tim Ream shouldn't have been sent off, period. It was a weak-ass penalty. It was a weak-ass call. It was bullshit. And actually, it was only outdone by Tomiyasu sending off. It was, I mean, seriously, at least they had some contact.
I'm keeping my remarks about Tomiyasu in my back pocket.
Fucking bullshit.
But we're going to talk about it when we get to fucking Arsenal.
All of it's bullshit. It's ridiculous. And you could say, I loved when he looked at it was like, seriously, the way he looked up at the card.
It was just like,
same with Alexis McAllister. The two reactions when the referee brandished the card,
really?
It was hysterical.
Yeah, he's just like,
but
really?
no, it's absolutely absurd. There was no reason for it at all, and it's terrible refereeing. But Brentford were excellent.
They were the better side. They were hands down the better side.
Yeah, Fulham is gonna be in a bad way without Mitro, I think.
I told you this last week. I wasn't sold on them. I mean, we outplayed them. We played them off the pitch. They got their smash and grab, call it a day. I'm not impressed with them so far, and it's not that they don't have personnel. I think that this can be one of those sophomore slumps that just kind of hang with you and fuck with you, and they're going to be looking at themselves going, why are we in 17th place?
Yeah, it absolutely could be.
I'm a little nerved for them. I put them right in there with us and Wolves as one of those teams near the bottom.
With Mitro gone, I don't know where the goals are going to come from.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming from Raul Jimenez. I don't.
Not anymore. Yeah. After what he showed last season with Wolves when he came back from injuries, just no way.
Yeah. Keeping it rolling. The Cherries go up early. But that equalizer from
also
Diaz,
fantastic. It's one of the best bits of football of the weekend.
My God,
it was brilliant. Just the wherewithal to do, and you could tell the entire thing was completely intentional.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, oh, I fucked this touch up and then I pulled something out of the bag. Amazing,
it was perfectly.
What I'd be worried about though is Mo Salah missed another penalty. Now, obviously, it was unlucky on the goalkeeper
that he rolled back into the center. Yeah,
right. But he
that was a bad penalty. It was a soft
not good.
penalty.
It was very soft. It wasn't good.
Yeah. But also, should that have been a pen in the first place?
It was soft.
Very soft.
I mean, there was contact, but it was very, very soft. And Sabitzer definitely, Sabitzer, whatever, however you say it, absolutely went over quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it was just inside the box. Not dissimilar to Souček's on against Chelsea, where it was just inside the box.
Yeah, just inside the box.
But
I think
was
you and I were talking on the phone as that one happened. I went, I think it's outside the box. I think it might be on the line. You're like, on the line's in.
And yeah. But it just it's soft at best. And they were all saying that there's supposed to be a higher threshold for contact and fouls, and it doesn't seem like that's the case so far because they want to keep the games moving and not have, because they did this analysis, they want to up the 55 minutes average that the ball's in play during a 90-minute game.
Right.
So, which is fine, but then do what you say to counteract that. So have a higher threshold.
Right.
For tackles and stuff. It's terrible. The officiating so far in the first 2 weeks has been terrible.
This time 2 seasons ago, if you went over easy like that, even if there was contact, you saw a yellow for it. Remember, Richarlison saw one against Southampton back when he played for Everton.
Correct.
It was he kind of got bounced around between 2 guys, but there was contact, but no real foul, right? Well, then he got a yellow for it. Well, now that one, Savitzer, it was brief contact, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll say it now for your penalty, the non-penalty that was called, exact same thing with Eze, right? Partey did make contact with him.
He touched him.
Okay, well then where's the yellow card for Eze for the diving, bouncing around, right? Or you can then debate, but you called that a fucking penalty for Liverpool. Why isn't that a penalty here? Well, is it because for Liverpool, because it's Liverpool on the chest, it's a fucking penalty, but for Palace in their own building, it's not a fucking penalty? Like, it just... So the inconsistency of it is what drives me crazy. And I don't want to get too into the Arsenal thing because we're going to get on to Arsenal. So keep it in the context of that, please.
Okay. Thomas Partey was pulling his leg back.
But he still made contact, right?
But he was pulling his leg back.
I'm not debating this.
The other one, he was not pulling his leg back. His leg was planted.
Right.
All I'm saying is
there was inconsistency. They were both soft. One gets given and one doesn't. I think
you're given through your blue speckled glasses.
I have no interest in who won your match. If anything, I'm rooting for you to win because you're my friend.
I'm talking about Liverpool.
No. It's fucking, because that's a soft fucking penalty.
I said it was soft.
Tim Ream's penalty should not have been a penalty.
It shouldn't even have been a foul.
Right. So that's what I'm getting at, is that there's such inconsistencies in the refs right now. And the problem is if VAR, the eye in the sky, is supposed to fucking fix that, they're making it worse.
Yeah.
They're making it even worse. I could deal when there wasn't the eye in the sky before, because then it's just human fucking nature. And it's like, oh, we got fucking, I know he doesn't ref anymore, but we got Dino. We know how today's going to go. Like, that's fine. It's okay to know that. But you have this eye in the sky that's supposed to be fucking making everything a level playing field, and it's not. And it's very consistently going big clubs' ways and not other clubs' ways. Very consistently. Very consistently. And that's regardless. We'll get to Arsenal and the Tommy Yusu second yellow and all that shit. But fucking McAllister probably shouldn't have been sent off.
Shouldn't have been a red.
Shouldn't have been.
Right, which just disses your argument.
No, I said...
Houston?
Yeah.
Miss Jane agrees with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jane?
Yeah, she's watching us from Australia.
Shit.
It's the morning.
Hell yeah.
She's in the future and agreeing with him.
Yeah, there we go. Here's the big thing I wanted to say. One last thing very quickly about Bournemouth and Liverpool. Very sneaky moves that nobody noticed. Both teams got exactly the thing they needed, a defensive midfielder this week.
Yes, they did.
Liverpool went out and got Endo, and Bournemouth went out and got Tyler Adams. I think Tyler Adams, as a piece for that team, because they already have Billing, they already have Travener, they already have Solanke. I think he could be the piece that keeps them up for a second season.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I think that's a sneaky good signing.
As long as he can keep his head and not choke Decore or get choked by Decore, whatever happened.
Not get a lot of yellows.
There was a lot of choking there. I don't remember who did what.
Real simple with City and Newcastle. Just a straightforward professional win for City.
It was a pretty comfortable performance as well. I mean, Newcastle didn't offer a ton. I mean, Ederson had to make a few saves here or there, but they rarely really threatened.
But also for Newcastle, is this really the match you care about?
No, of course not.
But their building, they were early in the season. You're just like, we got a lot of other shit to worry about than fucking going full balls to the wall against City in their building.
But they were also quite organized and good defensively. I mean, they frustrated Holland a bit, and
It was a fabulous goal from Alvarez to get past Pope. Like Pope almost had it.
Yeah, it was a great goal. It really was.
Yeah, it just.
But the whole game, both teams, it just didn't seem like they ever really got out of first gear.
Yeah. It was like they're taking a test drive. It's the second game of the season. Let's see what we're going to do here. And
it was kind of one of those cagey, like, we don't want to lose to the people around us.
Right.
That's why the big 6 games are usually not great, because it's like, if we lose to them, it's a 6-pointer. It could cost us a title or, whatever. So they're always kind of just shit. Very rarely do you get that Liverpool, Chelsea, or Liverpool, City game from a couple years ago that's just end-to-end fucking nonstop,
right?
Punch each other in the face, heavyweight bout. That doesn't happen anymore for real.
And for City, this is exactly what you wanted. You got the win. You move on. You'll beat the crap out of Sheffield United next week.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need the goal parade against Newcastle. You need a win. You need 3 fucking points. You got those 3 fucking
100%.
points. That's what you needed. Finally, moving on to Arsenal Palace. I want to talk.
A shit game.
It was not a good game at all. I do want to talk first about Palace, because I know you'll have your thoughts on your side, and then we'll get into Tomiyasu and things of that nature as well. Palace is going to be a tough out.
Yes,
they are going.
They are quite organized.
What you saw from them today, you are going to get against them every fucking week. That team is going to be drilled in. You are not going to get opportunities. They are going to make your life fucking hell. And with guys like Jordan Ayew out there, they're going to fuck with you all game and get in your head and be a fucking pain in the ass and somehow get a yellow, but never get a second yellow, even though he pushed a guy over out of bounds and totally should have gotten a second yellow, but didn't. He will, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. He will go down. I've never seen a person get a second yellow card for touching another man's hip with the back of his hand.
And the referee said he pulled his shirt.
He touched, Tomiyasu touched Jordan Ayew on the hip with the back of it.
It's ridiculous.
And he got a second yellow for that.
And the other thing, Kai Havertz didn't get a yellow for holding on to the ball longer than Tomiyasu did.
Yeah,
after we had gone down to 10 men, Kai Havertz walked away with the ball and wasted more time than Tomiyasu did.
And this is after he also kicked it out of bounds, too, and was on a yellow.
Well, no. That got him his yellow.
Okay,
was
fine.
when he kicked it out of bounds. But famously also, and I'm not saying that we should profile players, because you absolutely shouldn't do that. That is a D-back thing. But famously, the Japanese are super fucking honest.
Yeah.
And seriously, this is what you're saying he
the
did?
fans clean up stadiums after fucking matches.
I don't think so.
The players fold towels and fucking leave
weird.
you carry out after the fucking game.
Literally leave like origami ducks and shit for the staff of the stadium.
They feed the staff of the stadium. Like, no, when you're a visiting team, they're supposed to feed you,
It's
and they
weird.
leave food for the visiting staff.
It's fucking strange, man. I don't get it. It was the most controversial sending off for me, really, of the weekend. Besides, Tim Ream's up there with it. Mateus Nunez deserves his. He's a moron.
West Ham got one too. The new signing, the center back. Agueno,
They scored their first goal.
yeah, and then he got a second yellow and sent off, and one of the two yellows was for mouthing.
The first one, because the second one was at tackle, which was
right.
That was deserving of a yellow. But even that was discussed prior to the season. We're clamping down on people talking back, all the fake card waving, doing this and that kind of stuff.
Of which your guy didn't fucking get one when he did it 4 times.
He didn't get one.
I think he was running around following the ref going, please give me one, and he was on a yellow.
He didn't do that.
And here's the thing. He was on a yellow already. He could have
gotten sent off.
It's just, the inconsistency has been just dog shit. And if you're going to call a foul and a second yellow for putting your palm, the back of your hand on somebody's hip, then I'm sorry, by that rationale, while I do not feel it was a penalty, you should have called the Ezzy foul a penalty. By that rationale, if you're going to fucking call that foul and give
and send a player off because of it.
And then a guy, although pulling his leg back, still made contact with a player inside the box. Like, it's just the ref lost the fucking plot.
Absolutely did.
He was just throwing around yellow cards randomly, but then not being consistent within the yellow cards. And, like,
It's weird. But
it was baffling. It was fucking baffling.
Very good penalty by Odegaard. Mm-hmm. And what I will...
Oh, and also absolutely a penalty.
100%.
Absolutely a penalty. If Johnston had touched any part of that ball...
It's not. Yeah,
not a penalty.
I would agree with that.
But he didn't get to the ball. And Saka did exactly what he's supposed to do. Get to the ball first and put the ball far enough away that the keeper can't get to it.
That was Odegaard that took the pen. Saka's
the one. I'm saying Saka's the one who got the penalty. Got it called for him because...
Oh, no, it was Nketiah.
Oh, okay.
It was Nketiah that turned. Yeah.
I thought it was Saka was the one who got fouled.
When he turned... He put the ball to the outside and left his legs there, Freddie Ljungberg style.
Perfectly.
From back in the day.
He was looking for the foul, which is exactly
100%.
what you should do. Like in that circumstance, I want my striker doing that. I want every striker doing. You
100%.
Get to the ball before the keeper does. Knock it away from the keeper so he can't touch it. Because if you knock it anywhere near the keeper and he does touch it,
you're done.
Ain't a foul. But it's just the fucking inconsistency, man. The fucking inconsistency.
It was a weird weekend for referees. Say that.
And you know this is all going to balance out, but then you look back at other things that they've called over the years, and it's like, is this just the year that they're going to hand out cards for people mouthing off, and then next season it'll go right back to the way it was? Like,
it's just the whole thing's just kind of stupid, and it puts you in a position to get involved. It makes refereeing more about the refs affecting the game than it does about just maintaining a level of order to where the spectacle can be the spectacle.
Right.
And nobody wants to see a red. If someone deserves it, obviously, yeah, sure. But are you going to tell me Takahiro Tomiyasu deserves a fucking red card for those two things he did? He had the ball for 8 seconds. I heard somebody say the other day, you know what? If somebody's wanting to throw the ball in, give the two players that didn't make a good enough run a yellow card.
Yeah.
Because what is he supposed to do? Just gift away possession?
Right. Just supposed to throw it away for no reason.
So give the people that aren't moving the yellows, not the person holding the ball.
I got to say, I've never seen a man get a red card for lovingly brushing someone's hip with the back of their hand.
Oh, fuck.
Sure money.
Well, when you know me, it is.
Yeah, it is. How about that?
After going 0 for 37.
I was going to say, it only took you 38 times to finally hit it.
After going 0 for 37 last season, your boy Graham hit a bet. I am now up $314 motherfucking dollars. And of course, I immediately let it go to my head, but I'm going to save that for another time, for the end of the segment, not another time, because Sam, I want to hear what happened to you and what your bet is this week.
As our degenerate gambling friend Pat always likes to say, Chelsea fucked my bet, and I am down in the hole $100. But that's okay, because
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
this will immediately fix my problems, Mr. Graham, and it's very simple. I'm going to take City to beat the Blades with over 3.5 goals, and Holland to score at an even plus 200, which will put me in the black. Nice and simple. And also, I sacrifice for us. The cup of losers, it is empty, and it needs to be fed. And I have written, we sacrifice this bet so we may all win more.
Nice.
It's the first one going in.
Good.
Oh, there we go.
Well, thank you for doing that.
It's the least I can do. We got to get W's, and I'm going to go ahead and give this one to the couple losers.
All right.
Fucking Chelsea losing to goddamn West Ham.
I did get a W.
You did.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
Hey, buddy, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh, I'm just about to go to Morton's. I got some motherfucking money.
For one, you're just going by yourself?
Yeah, y'all just didn't win.
No, I'm just saying $300 is going to get you one bottle of wine and one steak and a couple of drinks and a couple of appetizers, and that's it.
Yeah, perfect. My kids don't need anything.
Okay. How did I do? I went 1 for 3, so I last place currently.
Yeah, you're down 200 then, right?
No, 135.
Okay.
Because I did hit the win bet for $65.
Got it. Very good. Very good.
Yep. So it's not how you start; it's how you finish.
Okay,
It's
as they say.
it's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
So what do you got this week?
All right. So this week I'm going to do a 2-game parlay, and I'm going to take the goal line and 2 games, and they're kind of favorites. So shocker. So I'm going to do Manchester United minus 1.5 goals over Forest at minus 110, and Manchester City minus 2 goals over Sheffield at minus 105. And I just checked it, and it's actually gone. The minus 2 has gone up to like minus 125. So I don't know if a lot of money came in on or what, but you can't get those odds anymore. But $100, 270.
All right.
And of course, if there's a push where if like City only wins by 2, then it'll just resort back to a single game.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. So if one pushes, it then goes to a 1-game bet.
Yeah, because the minus 1.5, you can't push in that. So
Perfect.
it'll really be determined on Saturday.
All right,
If
cool.
I'm going to be playing or not, I guess. I don't know. We'll find out.
Awesome.
So, how's the rest of your weekend going?
Not bad. But thank you for your time as always, and I wish you good luck in your betting, my friend.
Okay. Well, hey, only a week away from Saturday, the college football. So
Where Pat really loses his money.
Yeah. Where his wife gets extra mad at him.
mm-hmm. All right, guys. I'll talk next week.
Yeah, man.
All
Thanks.
right, brother.
See ya.
He's so fucking funny. I can't. I can't.
Like I'm sitting here writing on the back exactly what time we're at. We're
know.
trying to narrow this show down a little bit, and then he's just like, "So what are you guys up to this weekend?
What's going on, man?
So how's it going in your world?" We're just like both of us, all 3 of us, just look at each other and laugh because we're just like we're trying to get the show done.
Pat's even like, Mel, I'm going to be in bed by 8:30. I'm like, well, then Pat, speed up.
Yeah, no shit.
Precisely.
All right, so like I said, I'm letting my winnings go to my head, and I am betting 100 smackaroos of the 314 that I am now up on a 6-game parlay.
Wow.
It should come in. Chelsea over.
You said that 37 times last year.
Chelsea over Luton. Tottenham over Bournemouth.
Okay.
Arsenal over Fulham. Brighton over West Ham.
Okay.
City over Sheffield United, and there to be over 2.5 goals in that game. Plus 605.
Oh, you were inspired by my
little
over
bit.
as well. You
Yeah,
were like, yeah,
a
there's
little
gonna be
bit.
goals in that game.
Plus 605 for that 6-gamer. And I think that's going to be a winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, well, speaking of chicken dinners, you know who's up and not chicken dinner? Fucking Kitty.
Well, Kitty opened with an easy win, and so she sits at 1-0. Now,
I
this
just want to
week,
know.
I gave Kitty Newcastle hosting Liverpool. Now, I was surprised to find that Kitty had a night light.
Nightlife. I'm sorry, the ghostwriter.
Had night lighted as a smash up DJ back in the early 2000s. Do you want to rewrite that on the fly?
Yeah, Smash Up DJ back in the did Smash Ups. It'll all make sense. Keep it going.
Linkin Park and Jay-Z were the best of those smash-ups.
Now, she went under the stage name DJ K Scrambled.
Because she went into K-holes, so K scrambled. Also for Kitty.
Okay, so let me try this again. I was surprised to find out that Kitty night lighted as a smash up DJ back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, she did.
She went under the stage name DJ K Scrambled and is best known for her house smash up sampling Money for Nothing from Dire Straits and Help from the Beatles.
Okay.
Well, that's odd because Mark is Newcastle, but John Lennon was Liverpool. So in a very weird way, I'm just going to assume the chicken's picking a draw.
That sounds like it. It was a smash up of a Liverpool fan and a Newcastle fan. I'd say, I'd like to hear that done under a house beat. I bet you it was probably pretty fucking slamming.
I appreciate that you explained that to me while I explain to you and everybody else to gamble legally and responsibly. That's it. No button to press. I want to press a button, but I got nothing.
I'm driving the fucking bus. I was ready to go right. You had to let me fucking run this shit.
Sounds like you wrote that while you were driving.
Yeah. It's going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Sammy, any parting words?
Yeah, we already went over the D-backs, so I just have one quick editing note. Do you know why that didn't read correctly? It's because it's not night lighting, it's moonlighting when you do another job. Yeah, all right.
I should have said moonlighting. I said, well, I'm sorry. Kitty's ghostwriter used the wrong word.
He also had remember to gamble legally in the very beginning. Like it was all sort of jacked up.
Sometimes we make mistakes.
Ben Holmes is calling you out, Graham. He thinks, he says, even I am hesitant to take Chelsea over Luton.
That's pretty funny.
That's coming from Ben.
Noted Chelsea supporter.
No, Raheem Sterling, if he plays as he did these last 2 weeks, that is easy days.
Yeah.
The way
him
looked.
and Chilwell.
The way Luton looked.
Yeah.
I just don't see where they're going to stop
Their
Chelsea.
best performance was this week. They didn't play.
That's the only reason they moved up the table, because Shaw's goal difference fucked it.
Yeah, exactly. Parting words?
No, that was it. That's
right.
you
Very
should have
good.
said moonlighting.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Next up is Injury Time. We're going to talk about, we're going to chat a little bit about fantasy, talk about the IBS, and preview the weekend's matches. Sam, if somebody wants to find Injury Time, how do they go about doing it?
Absolutely. It's patreon.com/DU Football Show. Just sign up to that $1 tier, and you get those 2 extra shows. Sound check, which is our actual sound check. Mel checks the levels. We make sure the iPad works.
Yes.
And catch up from the weekend and talk a lot about our personal lives and that kind of stuff, so you get a little extra insight into us. And then Injury Time, which is our preview show, as Sam mentioned. So, yeah, check it out. It's pretty cool.
Excellent. If you want to support the show in any other way, of course, go check out our Drip Shack link tree on all of our social media sites, and also just DUDripShack.com. Yep, as
Look
well.
at that. Mel, it's like we've been doing it for 6 years or something.
We've done that twice tonight.
Hashtag simpatico.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's another show title. And, of course, finally, be sure to check out our DU Does EFL show that comes out every single Thursday, where we recap the rest of the league. Until next week, everybody.
Hey, programming question.
Uh-huh.
I think Smash Williams should be on the Get to Know the Host show.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Definitely Smash Williams should be on Get to Know the Host show.
Mel, what do you think about it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Till next week, everybody.
I'm Evan Williams.
I'm Evan Williams.
Good night.